What's going on, gamers? We got two topics here to cover in this video. One, PlayStation 5 is still outselling PlayStation 4 in the USA. Very interesting stuff here. And then we got Sony announcing their state of play. It's going to be 1 hour long and expect to see some exclusives there. Yeah, we're going to talk about some interesting stuff here. Starting off first though with PlayStation 5 outselling PS4. If you guys want to become a member, leave a tip, like, comment, subscribe. I would appreciate that. It's very cheap to become a member, $3. I'll be doing this for a long time. I'm not going anywhere, and I'll start doing streams eventually down the line. You'll be seeing that. I'll be doing a lot of GTA 6 streams as well. So yeah, this channel is not going anywhere, and we're going to be doing this for a while. If you guys didn't know, this channel is only 2 years and 3 months old. I appreciate all the support, but let's get to this. Okay, so PS5 still outselling PS4 by 2% in the US when time to line after 66 months on the market. And this is coming from Matt Piscatella out of Circana. Actual stats here, not, guesstimates. Well, here's the thing. So I know a lot of people say they like the PS4 era. So did I. I loved it. You know what I mean? And I enjoy the PS5 era too, but there's some mistakes they obviously made, but I still am loving it in a lot of other ways. Let me tell you the difference here. When it comes to the PS5, that carryover from PS4 is automatically going to give them a lot of sales because of how much the PS4 sold. You know that, right? But one thing I'm going to say about the PS4 launch compared to the PS5 is that the PS5 launch was a lot better and had a lot more games. And you got the PS4 games being maxed out and full backwards compatibility. Things are looking very promising. You had your exclusives, but then you had your cross-gen games as well. If you remember the PS4 launch, it was pretty bare bones. Battlefield was broken. They were still trying to get used to kind of making consoles closer to like a PC. So many errors and crashes going on. The game we had to wait on after a while was Infamous Second Son in April. And things didn't take off for a while after a year until we finally got to a game like Bloodborne, which kind of took a while. Whereas the PS5 was coming straight off the bat with really good games. Even during the COVID era, they kind of like, reduced sales or, capabilities of getting stocks on top of scalpers was kind of a bit rough. But in the long term, Sony managed to get things going very well. And, they had a lot of good games starting off. Sackboy, Demon Souls remake, a lot of cross-gen games, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, all the PS4 games getting PlayStation 5 next-gen updates, and promising games, Gran Turismo 7. You know what I mean? It's like you had games. Xbox was the one that had to delay Halo, and that wasn't good. They only had like Game Pass and like trying to get deals on Game Pass, kind of like games like Outriders. But Sony was having the exclusives. You know what I mean? So it was like the PS5 started off a lot better than the PS4. Plus, you had a whole backwards compatibility of games to play a lot better. It's only when Sony made some certain mistakes by doing a gas rush and had to get Jim Ryan out of there when things actually happened, if you guys don't remember. But other than that, they still had strong third-party support. Consoles were closing the gap, getting closer to PC, and then they announced the PS5 Pro. But there were still good exclusives there. God of War Ragnarok was excellent. Horizon Forbidden West was excellent. You had The Last of Us Part 1 remake, Last of Us Part 2 getting a next-gen update. You had Spider-Man 2. Sony still had strong exclusives. The disappointing thing was Naughty Dog missing the window of this generation. We were like, oh man, we really needed that. And the cancels that were coming in from Sony Ben Studios. We could have had a Days Gone 2 already and a Naughty Dog game, or Last of Us Online, which I thought would have been fine. But Helldivers 2 was, I have to say, a savior for Sony because they ended up doing incredibly well and doing well on PC, and they were sharing a lot of their games on PC, which we know is gone now, and they're going back to exclusives. But the position that they're in could have been a potential Don Matrick situation, but they ended up turning it around and recovering all the way to the end of last year, at the end of last year, up to this year with PSSR 2, and just making a turnaround where you're like, okay, cool. Only thing we disagree with was Bluepoint Games. Other than that, all consoles got a price hike, and the PC market was absolutely the worst. Whereas the PS4 generation kept on picking up, and it got better and better. And then the PS4 Pro dropped for $399, which was absolutely an insane deal. And you have Monster Hunter World with that, getting its updates. A lot of good PlayStation exclusives. You didn't really see any cancels. A lot of good games were dropping a lot, and they finished the generation very strong too. We see Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, which was like, okay, you know what I mean? That's pretty good. A couple other games as well too, but it was a pretty good balance, and the price points were really good. Like Nintendo price points, $300 and $399 for the Pro, and sometimes you can get other deals. no matter what, Sony like really did a good job with the PS4 generation. You had SharePlay coming in. The DualShock 4 was actually a really good controller, much better than a PS3 controller. The only thing that people didn't like is that they started charging for online and they followed Microsoft's methods. But other than that, they had some pretty good games that generation and some good money hats. But PS5, I felt like had a bigger expansion overall from a third-party perspective, but the first party just had like a 2-year gap mistake because of the cancels. But they ended up turning things around, and now we see a lot of games coming around the corner. This year's looking very strong. Next year's looking very strong, and the year after that. And Xbox was no competition over time. That has completely obliterated them this generation. At least in the PS4, Xbox One generation, Microsoft sold 58 million consoles, even making stupid mistakes. That's why I say where I feel like Phil Spencer still did a really good job to keep things going in a certain way, because you have that 360 carryover as well. Whereas the PS4 carryover to the PS5 versus the Xbox One carryover to the Series X, yeah, that was massively detrimental to Microsoft. So them doing that and still kind of leading gives you an idea how strong the PlayStation brand is and how it is mostly third-party dominant rather than first-party, but first-party is still important, and Sony realizes how much they need to grow first-party into their own ecosystem. So making PlayStation games exclusive is absolutely important. There's no argument about this. It's like, no, you need that identity. PS6 needs to have a stronger identity than PS5 and more first-party games, single-player games, and no cancels. And like if you're going to do a strong live service game, it needs to be something like Helldivers 3 or something like Last of Us Online. Like it needs to be a for sure hit. You can't do all this other crap you did this generation. You see what I mean? That's what I feel about PS5 outselling PS4 and kind of still being aligned, though it's more expensive. It's because of how more expansive the market is overall, if you think about it. Definitely with the gacha growth as well, though that has died down a lot. And Sony just basically giving people deals when they were supposed to. Though this year it's been insane for price hikes. But prior to that, you got a lot of quality third-party games this generation, and Capcom has been god tier. And now people are not worried about a PC having that much more of an advantage over a console. You just don't see that anymore. And you're carrying over your library and you're staying with it. That carryover was an automatic victory. And so I try to tell people about the Switch too, where it's like, no, that carryover. Phil Spencer said the same thing. So that's the thing down here. We only got a few comments here, but there's a couple other threads about it. This guy says PS5 is going to pass PS2 numbers. That's not going to happen, no. But GTA is definitely going to give them an advantage as well. So, and they're going to have the marketing for that. Sony just knows how to outsmart the competition to where they can feel like they can walk around and do whatever they want. But going back to the exclusive identity also solidifies the idea that Nintendo is not my main competitor, and it's an exclusive war. So I need my identity. Plus, I need PS6 to have an exclusive identity. It's not an argument, it's a realization. So that's my take on that. Now, going down here, we see State of Play returns on June 2nd. The over hour-long show includes an extended look at Marvel's Wolverine. Now we're going to get full-blown gameplay of this and what they've been doing to work on this for the longest. Plus news and updates on upcoming PS5 games. Want to watch State of Play in a theater? Alamo Drafthouse in the US is hosting special live viewings on June 2nd at selected locations. Full details, including locations. Interesting stuff here. What I think Sony's going to do in this State of Play is make it very clear to you that exclusives are fully 100% on PlayStation 5 and PS6 cross-gen until they have PS6 exclusives. Expect to see some PlayStation 5 only on PlayStation. You expect to see it, exclusive to PlayStation. Just watch. It's going to happen. They're going to have some single-player games here to show. If you think Sony has shown that full hand, I'm telling you right now, they have not. Even the vice president was telling you, if you think this year is going to be amazing, look at that, 7.8 million views already. It's blowing up. Then wait till next year. It's going to be even better, and the year after that. So it's looking very promising. They're making this turnaround. They know where they're going. The other thing I tell them they probably need to do is just cancel Fair Games and go ahead and get that out the way. Other than that, look forward to the return of strong PlayStation single-player exclusives. And look forward to a lot of remakes and remasters on top of next-gen IPs like Uncharted 5, maybe Uncharted 1 Remake, Last of Us Part 3, Venom coming from Insomniac, Spider-Man 3 coming from Insomniac. You know what I mean? Get ready for the next Ghost title. And them probably doing a next-gen Infamous game. You see what I mean? Get ready for the next-gen God of War. Kratos probably going to Egypt. Get ready for Freya having her own main line with Cory Barlog. Because, Cory Barlog has developed the best God of War games. People have loved his reception. You know what I mean? Get ready for that because it's going to happen. Get ready for other Sony developers like, Though Sony Ben Studio, they're probably going to be doing Days Gone too. Potentially have a Siphon Filter return as well too. I think that would be nice, but I'm not going to guarantee that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, you never know. And then you got the God of War Trilogy remake coming as well. We still got the Marvel game around the corner. We got Wolverine around the corner. Sony has a lot of potential single-player games. We know Nintendo's going to be bringing the heat too with their next direct. Expect a ton of games from them. They're already doing an excellent job. But when I tell you that if you think that Sony pulling games from PCs only, you missed out on a few games, I promise you down the line, you're going to see in these state of plays too, you're going to be incorrect. I think now more than ever, it's going to get more intense because they realize what they need to do, how much they need to improve their identity. Yeah, the price hikes suck. There's nothing we can do about that. Price hikes suck in the Xbox world, but it is the worst in the PC world. What I think Valve needs to do, definitely when they launch the Steam machine, is that you better have Half-Life 3 ready, because you don't want to be coming in just looking like another third-party optional box. The cool thing about that is that it's not going to have Windows, but PlayStation and Nintendo are going to be giving the gaming community a lot of first-party games. It's not about you just getting a lot of third-party games, but it's about what are you doing to give to the gaming community yearly. State of Play is going to show this. The last one showed that as well. You still got the Kena 2 game, they announced that. And they're going to share that with PC like they're sharing Marvel with PC. They dropped Source this year already. They dropped the Marathon this year already. They dropped MLB The Show. They had Neo 3 as a console exclusive. Xbox is not getting that. You see what I mean? PlayStation has already showed you this year. We're not even talking about Nintendo because they're dropping a lot of games too, that they're coming this year way better than the mistakes that they've made last year with the cancels. Even though they dropped Ghost of Yotei and Death Stranding 2 last year and had a couple other things come out as well. When you look at like the continuity of Sony continuing and actually making a lot more games now, it shows you that actually this generation could have been absolutely insane if they wouldn't have messed up on that gas rush. And we got Intergalactic coming next year. Or maybe it may come a little bit later than that. But expect to see a good amount of games because this is an overlong hour showcase. We got Phantom Blade Zero coming to PlayStation this year. That's not coming to Xbox. You see what I mean? It's like you have a lot of quality games coming. And I'm telling you, that PS5 Pro, if you got that ahead of time, you're in for a treat because it's like all these games, that's going to be the highest setting I'm going to be able to play it on with PSSR 2. Or even if you got a base PS5, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. We're in for a good show here. I know this is going to be good, but I think the Nintendo Direct's going to be better. I think Nintendo is going to bring the heat because they already let you know what they're going to do. I like that they're giving you a lot of time too to still buy the Switch too, and I think they kind of have to because I mean doing it immediately would have been bad. You still need to build up to September. So I expect that to be really good. I think the Xbox Showcase will be good as well. I hope the Gears turns out being very well too, but we're going to have a triple trifecta of amazing showcases. Actually quadruple because the summer showcase is going to be there too, but I think these main three ones are going to be better, but you never know. They may have some surprises there as well. But I look forward to all the showcases. But at the end of the day, Microsoft is the one that really needs to improve. They need to be a strong publisher. They cannot afford to have any of their games fail. All of them need to be very well so that they can be able to compete, at least in the publishing realm, where they're also their service is looking better too. But I think they should decide on what they want to be their day one as well, kind of like how they're taking off Call of Duty, so that they can think about things. Sony has never dropped any games day one first party on PlayStation Extra, and they're never going to. Nintendo has not put anything on there, period, because they can sell. And they're giving you games without microtransactions, real video games. That's what people love about them. And you have the on-the-go option. But like thinking about the state of play, yeah, over an hour long gives you that idea that Sony is going to be coming with a lot of exclusive content, money hats, and third-party partnership deals and fundings. Think about things like the Chinese Hero Project, the Korean Hero Project. They have an Indian Hero Project starting as well, and they may be having other hero projects going on elsewhere. I expect to see a lot of games funded, and I think we're in for a good show here. But remember what I said, expect them to let you know that PlayStation is returning to exclusives heavy, and we're going to let you know how serious we are about this. Other than that, let me know what you guys think about this. PS5 are selling PS4 still. Does not surprise me. People are investing and they know that it's worth to invest in the PlayStation ecosystem. You're going to get that carryover into PS6 and the identity is going to be strong. Just like people invested into the Switch 1 and you got that Switch 2 carryover, expect that going into the Switch 3 to be strong as well too. They have strong ecosystems. Valve has a strong third-party ecosystem, but they need to give the gaming community more games. Nobody's going to sit here and tell me you do not want Valve to make more games, because they do a very good job when they do. Xbox is still dropping games for the gaming community, but they just don't have an exclusive identity with it. So all three of them are doing that yearly. Valve, you need to drop Half-Life 3 and you'll be fine, because you can make a lot of games out of that. Other than that, let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below as usual. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, y'all. Keep gaming no matter what platform you're on.